Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome back to Abstract Medicine. I hope you're all doing well. And today we're going to be doing a reading with Mary Magdalene. I'm very excited about this reading with all of you. This is a new deck that I was called to purchase, particularly and specifically for this very reading today. Today is Mary Magdalene's feast at this time. So I've not opened it. I've charged it, with the crystal, for amethyst crystal, this one here, which is on her shrine. And I also have this as well as her shrine, which was encouraged by Soul Sister for me to create a shrine for Mary Magdalene, which I have created. I also discovered I have an egg. I got 2 eggs. Not just in my body, but I've discovered I actually have 2 eggs, and I was like, this is perfect. I can't believe it. And they were stored in a cupboard. Beautiful. So, and some other things that I have along the way as well. So let's unbox this deck and just see what's inside. And we're going to start channeling as well. So here's the book. Okay, so I'll put the book there. Beautiful backing as well. Beautiful back. Yeah. So you have all these divine feminine individuals, including Mary Magdalene. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this card out as we'll be channeling her energy today. Okay. All right, so we're going to be channeling Mary Magdalene's energy. I also have this amethyst as well, which is, the vulva, essentially, right? The shape. So yeah, let's interesting, I actually mentioned Diana in the collective reading. Okay, so we're going to be using, there's a few tools that we'll be using. Just bear with me. Grab yourself a coffee, a drink, a tea, a snack, whatever you wish, because I don't know how long this is going to be. But we're going to be using this Oracle deck. We're going to be using the Romance Angels deck. We're going to be using the Mother Peace deck and the Light Seers Tarot deck. We're also going to be looking at some pages from the Karen Armstrong book, The Gospel According to Women, and seeing what's there. I'm currently reading that, as well as some other books at the same time. We're also going to be looking through this Mary Magdalene Speaks book by Marcia McMahon as well, who channels her, who I've actually recently been in touch with, and she said that, quite interesting, that I carry the Christ energy within me through my name, which is interesting. And it was just very confirming. So before we begin, let's just tune into Mary Magdalene's energy. Mary Magdalene, thank you so much for coming here today to speak through me, to share the messages that the collective need to hear today on your day. I just heard Day of Assumption. So the Day of Assumption. So this is interesting. So let me just get situated. She's saying it doesn't matter how you do it. It's the message that comes through. So I'm just talking with her mentally, just going like, is there a particular way that you want me to do this? And she's like, just whatever you do, you'll be fine with it. I think she's sensing that I'm a little bit nervous about this because I've not done this before with Mary Magdalene. But she's like, but you've done it with Jesus so many times and it worked out fine, it worked out well. And I'm just asking her as well, should I use a Jesus card? She said, no, you don't need to. Just tap into my energy. Okay, these are the conversations that I have. Okay, so beautiful. Okay, she's saying to mention my dreams or the last 24 hours that I've had. So I don't know whether you will be or you have, but we've been seeing lots of numbers, haven't we? We've been seeing lots of numerology. The last 24 hours I've been seeing 2111 at 21:21, so 9:9, so 9 p.m. and 9 minutes, so 21 and 21. I have a 24-hour clock setting on my phone and on my computer, just because of how I was raised. Like in Italy, we say like it's 21 hours, that kind of thing. So, but it is interesting the coding that's been sent through, and she said that there was a portal that opened up yesterday evening for me, and I just went to bed so early and I woke up so late. So for me, waking up at 11 a.m. is really, really late. Like, it really discombobulates me a bit. And I understand why this happens. It's because I'm receiving a lot of messages from Spirit that I'm integrating. The word integration has been coming up a lot this week, for me, but also for the collective. So I feel like this is going to be a very important important word for the collective. So we have Mary Magdalene, the apostle of the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. Yeah, so she was saying that this portal energy is about connecting with your divine self, but also with the Gospel of Mary, which I've just finished reading actually, which is really interesting. Is she says that we are, yes, human beings having a spiritual experience, and spiritual beings having a human experience as well, but it's more about, it doesn't matter what gender you are in order to have that spiritual experience. So Peter was kind of a little bit of a chauvinist, I would say, with his disregard of her. To be honest, like, I think there was a bit of jealousy there as well. Like, why have you got all these secrets that Jesus has told you? Why hasn't he told us, the men, of this group? I just want to also say that this isn't about man hating. I'm not someone who's a man hater. I'm not someone who is someone who's like down with the patriarchy all the time. Like, that's not necessary, to be honest. It's about balance, and it's about bringing out the feminine within you, the divine feminine within you. It doesn't matter what gender you are. But it's also, let's be honest, an acceptance that Mary Magdalene was a chief apostle, a chief disciple, and in a sense was incredibly close to Jesus, because she was his wife. And there is a coming out of this. There's a coming out of this. That's why the word assumption came through. There are people that assumed that she was a prostitute. There are people that assumed that she wasn't someone who was going to be, bringing out great change. But the thing is, we have the egg here, and the egg has deep knowledge, information within. And this is all coming out for a good reason, She's just taught me something right now, which is really interesting. She taught me that I'm able to scry with this egg. I'm able to read the egg. How interesting. I'm actually just asking her, like, how do I do this? And she said, I will teach you. Oh, wow. Okay, my goodness me. Okay, so I'm actually seeing the River Nile here, with this crack here. Okay, there's a lot of information already coming through, which is interesting. She's saying that there's going to be another reading that I've been picking up on about Israel, and also potential conflict with Syria, Damascus, and Israel, and how Jesus has said, you will not divide my land. and it's happening. We are currently in end times, you know, and I don't want to scare you, but this is the beginning of the end and the end of the beginning. So this, again, with the egg, it's like we're at the beginning, you know, we're coming through again. This is another natural cycle that's taking place at this time, which we've had many times before on this planet Earth. And Mary Magdalene is saying that she's the one who's helping to bring in the new age. Okay. Okay. I'm just shuffling the cards. I'm going to get 2 more cards out. Wow. Wow. Okay, so we have Amaterasu and Pope Joan. One more. And Mirabai. A lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are waking up right now to the fact that there's a lot of music coming through as well at the same time. There's that song, She's a Man-Eater, and then there's also Who Run the World Girls. There's a lot of distorted feminism. This is my interpretation. This isn't me channeling right now, but there's a lot of divine feminine archetypes and idols that we worship in popular culture who are actually embodying the dark side of the feminine. But I will say that there's a wake-up call for a lot of you, and there's a wake-up call for recognition of women in society and how they have brought about great change in our culture and in our cultures. So we have Amaterasu, the goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. We have Pope Joan, the pontiff of possibilities, and we have the possibilities are limitless because the soul is limitless. And we have Mirabai, the saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. Let's have a look at the Light Seers Tarot. So you're going to be, a lot of you are going to be bringing out the light within the collective. The 3 cards that flipped out. The 8 of Swords. The Strength card. This is the Light Seers Tarot deck. And we have the 9 of Swords. Okay, so Mary Magdalene, tell us about this. Okay, so a lot of you are being asked to be in the light here, especially here with the Strength card. This is the light worker card for me as a reader. And to remove illusions from your soul. You are now going to be reflecting a different version of who you are to the world. And this is going to maybe scare you even and scare others, because when you reflect light to the world, you also cast shadow. So people get to be a reflection of your light. I don't know if you can see this, but in the video, this card in particular is very, very bright. Can you see that? These cards carry light codes. I can see it and I can feel it. It's just beautiful. So it's the energy of not being afraid to shine. Ignore the naysayers, they're saying. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so we have Amaterasu, who's Japanese, and I remember studying her years ago. I think the first, actually it was the first year I moved to Los Angeles, and I was really intrigued by her and the story related to her. But we're going to have a look at the Mary Magdalene card first, okay? So I'm going to bring this up to you, and if you'd like to take a screenshot, you can. All right. So the apostle to the apostles. I'm the bridge between heaven and earth. I'm fully human and fully divine. She also wants to say that she, I'm actually asking, are they ready to hear this message? And she said yes. Okay, all right. So the message is that she was able to come into her rainbow light body because she had ascended into that, and she was able to cross the rainbow bridge. And many masters who, and I mean masters as in like women too, you know, like even the fact that I have a master's degree, I consider that a feminine energy as well as a masculine energy. It doesn't mean that it just has to be men that can have masters, right, or gain mastery. And this is something that is coming through with her. So she's saying that, you know, she's saying that that she was able to ascend into the rainbow light. So she was able to ascend into the light, her light being. Mary Magdalene embodies the capacity we all have to merge with the soul and receive divine guidance through a love that never ends. Mary was born in the 1st century in Magdala, Israel. She was the first to witness the resurrection, and for this reason, is revered in Christianity as the apostle of the apostles. In the meaning of Mary Magdalene, author and episcopal priest Cynthia Bourgeau, relates that the Gospel of Thomas, Philip, and Mary Magdalene all reveal Mary not only as Jesus' beloved companion, koinonos, but also as an equal partner in teaching and transmission. Bourgeau believes that Mary Magdalene's Gospel contains a secret teaching that Christ gave to Mary so that she could pass through the 7 stages to reach the soul, or the nous, which is the highest point of the soul. So nous as in French, N-O-U-S, yeah, like nous as in we, plural. Nous, yeah. And it is this union with her soul that allows Mary to see the risen Christ. Okay, so in classic iconography, Mary Magdalene is associated with an egg and the colour red because of an Eastern Orthodox legend. It says that she used an egg to teach the court of Tiberius Caesar about resurrection. Caesar doubted her and responded that a person could no more rise from the dead than the egg in her hand turn red. The egg turned red immediately. Legends relate that Mary then travelled to the south of France to escape persecution and to continue her ministry. It is believed she lived the last 30 years of her life in the caves of Sambum. There she met with Christ with a love that inhabits the human heart, but that lives on beyond it. When your soul selects her card, Mary Magdalene represents the fierce, unwavering love that we all have access to within our own vulnerable hearts. It's a love that renders all things sacred, from the animals to the angels, from the poorest to the most powerful. It is a love that sees the inherent worth of all things, and it's a love that remains even through the darkest times, even through death. Her love is the one that resurrects. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene relates that Jesus came to unite us, to demonstrate to us a true human being, an anthropos, meaning a person who is both fully human and fully divine. This is what Mary became, and it's why she was so beloved to Jesus. She didn't seek to follow him. She sought instead to become her true self. Mary Magdalene reminds us that we have the power to receive vision from within. We are worthy of such proximity to the divine, because that's the other half of what it means to be truly human. She reminds us there's a bridge between heaven and earth, and that we are the bridge, we are that bridge, and she wants us to remember that the truest church we can ever enter is in the heart. This is where our true power rests, and where love never ends. okay? The soul voice meditation is, where has my love not yet reached? The intention is, I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. Okay. So I see that Mary is also saying that, you know, again, we have that division here where what you perceive yourself to be true is just an illusion. Who you truly are is actually your soul and your spiritual energy, which is abstract. Thank you. She's saying some nice things to me, which is I'm receiving and I'm saying thank you for. She's also saying that you get to now remove yourselves of physical garbs. So removing yourself of identities that you no longer resonate with. She's also saying that not only you're getting to stay and step into the light now, but you also get to be that pillar of strength as well here with the Leo energy. So Leo season is coming through. I do feel like the 8-8 portal, the Lionsgate portal, is going to be very significant for a lot of you who are starting to embody the divine feminine energy as physical and as spiritual, she's saying. Okay, because remember, she is the bridge between both, and she is an example of both. So you get to be divine love, divine feminine, divine in spirit, as well as divine in the physical. She's also saying that her name was given to her by Jesus because she came from Magdala. And Magdala, from what I read, is about... is the energy of strength. It's that unwavering strength, that unwavering faith, the unwavering love. It's 22 minutes in now, so it's quite interesting that we have that number as coding. There's lots of messages coming through. I'm trying my best. We have 8-8. Can you see how we have 8 of Swords and the 8 of Strength, which is Leo energy? So we have 8-8. So the 8-8 Lionsgate portal is going to be very significant. We also have a heart here in this being. So we have the animal and we have the human. She's saying you are not human. You've never really been human. To all of you. We're all divine, but some have fallen from grace and some have fallen into the physical aspect more so than others. Okay, so we get to remember that that we are here to be in the light. Okay. She's now saying to read the Amaterasu teaching. If I can find it. Okay, Amaterasu. The goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. Who is she? Amaterasu embodies the levity that brings us out of the darkness. So I just want to say that Mary Magdalene has given us permission during this reading of the Mary Magdalene feast day, as she's bringing in these divine goddesses, these divine women, in particular for today. Okay, in other readings there'll be others. Okay, she's saying. So these are the strongest energies to come out today, these divine feminines here. So Amaterasu embodies the levity that brings us out of the darkness and shows us the beauty of our own light. Amaterasu is the most powerful deity in the Shinto religion. She's a solar goddess of Japanese mythology. Her name means shining in heaven. The oldest legends of Amaterasu date back to the 8th century and come from the Kojiki, or the Japanese record of ancient matters. In Shinto, kami are spirits or deities, and the most well-known story of the kami in Shinto is when Amaterasu got in a fight with her brother, Susanu, god of the storms and of the sea. His violence made Amaterasu so upset and angry, she retreated into a cave, leaving the world in darkness. The Kami of Merriment placed a mirror outside of her cave. How interesting, we have a mirror here. The Kami of Merriment placed a mirror outside of her cave and laughed so much Amaterasu became curious. She peeked outside the cave and saw a beautiful goddess, a stunning vision of the dawn. She was in awe of it, not realizing it was her own reflection. Surrounded by laughter, Amaterasu's anger and depression lifted, and she agreed to leave the cave, bringing her light with her back into the world. This is very, very touching. So remember, Mary Magdalene went into the cave. Well, first of all, anointed Jesus with a special oil, which for some of you are not yet able to. Okay, I'll just say it. The oil is very sacred. I actually feel like the oil was I think the oil was a bodily oil. I'll just leave it like that. And the oil that was anointed on Jesus, I feel protected him and helped him. Maybe it was also about compassion. Maybe it also supported him in his journey into resurrection to bring out the compassion, which is the energy of forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. The energy of compassion is divine feminine, right? So anyway, so once he had supposedly died physically, I also want to say that the crucifix is not necessarily factual itself. So the actual cross may not necessarily have been where he had quote unquote died. The Romans used many different apparati of torture. The cross was one of them, but the cross may not necessarily have been where Jesus had actually died. It may have been something else, they say. But he had died, and she had gone into the cave after the third day, I believe, and he was no longer there. And I believe she turned around and he had made an appearance in the physical form, and she was able to physically, touch him, but in a spiritual, energetic form. That was his light body. Okay, so interesting about the cave. A lot of you are being resurrected. A lot of you are coming into this new self. As I said before, you're coming into the light. You're coming into this new self, and you're no longer scared of who you actually really truly are. Beautiful, wonderful. It's very touching, this energy. Very, very touching. Let's have a look at Pope Joan, or Pope Juan, or Juan. Pontiff of possibilities. The possibilities are limitless because the soul is limitless. Pope Joan embodies the truth that all things are possible. According to popular legend, there was a female pope who reigned for 3 years. So we have 3 again. So we have 3 days, we have 3 years, 33. 33 is Christ consciousness energy. You may have had a very interesting transitional 33 year of your life. So your 33rd year was it really interesting. Okay, so according to popular legend, there was a female pope who reigned for 3 years in the 9th century. She was a brilliant, highly educated woman who entered the Catholic Church in Rome by cross-dressing as a man so she could be with her lover. Intelligent and quick-witted, she rose through the ranks of the church hierarchy and was eventually elected as the Pope. 3 years into her reign, she was in a procession from St. Peter's to the Lateran in a lane once known as Via Sacra, the Sacred Way. Her true sex was dramatically revealed in the middle of the Sacred Way when she gave birth surrounded by a shocked and astounded crowd. One legend says that she was killed immediately and buried on the spot where she had given birth. Another says she lived to do penance for her deception, and her son, who became the Bishop of Ostia, how interesting, we have a house right by Ostia in Italy. The Bishop of Ostia had her entombed with honor in his cathedral when she died. Regardless, her name was removed from the lists of popes, and all subsequent cardinals had to sit on the sedes stercoraria, a throne with a conspicuous hole in the middle of the seat, to get a confirmation of sex before being named as the next pope. All right, so basically all cardinals would have to sit on this seat with a hole in it so people can check that cardinal's sex to make sure. In the 13th century, Jean de Mailly wrote a chronicle that contains the first written mention of an unnamed female pope. This inspired a wildfire of interest that spread throughout Europe. To this day, the legend of Pope Joan is widely believed, especially among Christians. We can so easily get caught beneath the glass ceiling of what we think is possible, but the truth is that everything is possible. It's hard for us to imagine just how much the divine wants for our lives, much more than we could ever hope. Pope Joan reminds us that even if we think that what we want isn't possible, it is, or even better. There is something our soul wants for us that will give us more than we can think to ask for. So you see how these women have been sidelined. We see how the power of these women had even doubted their own ability at some point. They either had to hide in the cave, okay, because they are reflections of you, particularly for those of you who are embodying the divine feminine within you in the physical world. You've been cast aside. You've been told to hide your light. You've been told that you had to hide from your own power and your own strength and possibility of being a pope. And then not only that, your name was cast away or deleted from the annals of recognition and in time and throughout time. But these people, these divine feminines, are coming through. They're being resurged again with the egg, and this new birth, this possibility as well, that even Joan gave birth on her way to ceremony. She gave birth, and we have the egg here again. So, we have this energy of again, like, what are you doing to for the benefit of mankind? How are you hiding your light? How are you limiting yourself? How are you playing small? Okay, so that's what the divine feminine is bringing out today, is how are you playing small? Trust that what's within you. Don't rely on what you can see around you. Have faith. Know that the circumstances you currently are transformed from within. Begin to believe in a vision of your life. Cultivate the capacity to see it, to really imagine it with all your senses, and you will live into the day when it exists as the reality that now surrounds you. Okay, so it says here that Pope Joan's right hand is held in the papal blessing, a Christian mudra of benediction. The two fingers that point downwards represent Christ's dual nature as both fully human and divine. So these two fingers here, yeah? So these two fingers here point downwards as the Christ's dual nature as both fully human and divine. Okay, fully divine. The human ego is limited. The lives lives beneath a glass ceiling. Joan demonstrates to us through that for the soul, the glass ceiling doesn't even exist. So I did mention that in one of the recent channelings on abstract medicine on Instagram. Trust in what the soul knows is possible for you. That is what Joan's wry smile reminds us. Okay, beautiful teaching. Let's have a look at Mirabai. We also had number 9 here, which during the 9th century, and we have the 9th sword here, 9 of swords here. Mirabai. A lot of you are being called to change your name as well and integrate, just like I have. I've changed my name into Cristallina, as that is my spiritual name. From Cristal to Cristallina. For those of you who've been on the journey with me, you know that. For those who are new, thank you so much. If these messages so far are resonating with you, please do press the like button. Subscribe to Abstract Medicine here on YouTube so you're notified of the next readings, next videos, and more. I can't actually find her. Where is she? Mirabai. For those of you wondering, it's not in alphabetical order, so in my dyslexic brain it's kind of tricky. At the same time I'm hearing the crow crowing in the background. And we have crows here and here. Maybe she doesn't want to come out today. Saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. There's also this energy of, for some of you may have had this experience or even a past life experience. Now we are going to be using the past life cards as well. Where you had a past life where you or even a life in this life where is a past energy where you had been betrothed to someone that you didn't want to marry. It was a contractual alliance, I'm hearing. Okay, so where is this message? And why isn't it in alphabetical order? Ay, ay, ay. ¿Dónde estás? Okay, it's así. Aquí. Alright, so Mirabai, the saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I'm married to my own soul. Mirabai embodies a love that lets us do what's right for our own lives, no matter what others might think. Mirabai, or Mira, M-E-E-R-A. You may know someone who's called Mira. I think there was in my school a girl called Mira. Is a Bhakti poet and mystic from Rajasthan, India. She was born a princess in the late 15th century. She unwittingly married Bhoj Raj, the crown prince of Mewar, so that's what I'm saying, in 1516, but she considered Krishna to be her true husband. Legends say that her husband's family tried to kill her several times for defying the social customs and expectations of a wife. Oh gosh, this hits deep for many of you, or for many of you who are really, really sensitive like me, and who hear of stories of women who are continuously, even to today, being beaten up, being raped, being cast aside because of their caste, because of their standing, because of their gender. Now there's divine anger here that's coming through very strongly. This has to stop. Especially here with the Knight of Swords, this would symbolize that fear of your own life, almost to the point of hate of your own body because you are a woman, and for men to see you even at a young age as a child, to see you as a sexual object, that's coming in very strongly right now. So I'm channeling Mirabai right now, or Mira. I remember I spoke about the 2 names, so you're becoming your spiritual name, your divine name now. What is it in a name? Shakespeare says, well, the thing is that you get to understand your name's meaning. If you do not resonate with your name's meaning, that's got to change as well, because a lot of you are being called to come into your spiritual self in physical form. Yeah, I'm fully human and fully divine, says Mary Magdalene. So this is happening today. I can talk about some things that I even had as a witness. I have had a friend who was married, who's Indian, and went to her wedding, and you know, it was a whole affair, and she didn't want to get married. And I've spoken to her. I've spoken about this in another reading, but anyway, she's later divorced, but it took a long time. Anyway, there'll be more readings like this, so just note that this isn't going to be the only reading. It's 444 right now as well on the timer. I'm also picking up on Archangel Ariel's energy coming through. Ariel is fire energy. She's also the symbol of the lion. So beautiful. So Archangel Ariel, especially with 444 and the lion, that's coming in very strongly too. Okay, but in each of those legends, Mirabai's love for Krishna would miraculously save her. She wears the Krishna tilaka, forehead marking, as a sign of her devotion to him on her forehead. Northern India in the 16th century was besieged by violent battles between Hindus and Muslims. Okay. Mirabai's husband, father, and father-in-law all died in the war. The crow is still crowing, by the way. It's just really interesting. Like, throughout this reading, it's just been crowing. Mirabai's husband, father, and father-in-law all died in the war with the Islamic army of Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire. Mirabai refused to join her husband on his funeral pyre, and again defied social and cultural expectations. So she was a bit of a rebel, and she was very much respecting her integrity here. She became the central poet saint of the Bhakti movement. During this difficult period in Indian history, the Bhakti movement is a spiritual path focused on the civilization of a personal love for the divine. It's a devotional form of worship that believes anyone who can have direct access to the divine regardless of sex, caste, or religion, you know, that is possible. Mirabai became the symbol of people suffering under the caste system and the persecution that ensued if anyone tried to define social and political standing. My dyslexia is very strong today, so I'm finding it a bit more difficult to read today in English. So Mirabai's poems are lyrical padas, or love songs, using metric verses, and they are so widely known and cherished because they relate to an ultimate freedom that Mirabai lived out in her love for Krishna. Often without even realizing it, we make choices based on external expectations. So that's people-pleasing as well. We have to stay strong and stay in the light. And sometimes we may have sleepless nights as well because of it. But we have to be true to ourselves with the sword energy. Okay. Mirabai is about doing what's right for you and no one else. Ultimately, only you can know what needs to be done or said. You have this one brief life, and every second of it matters. Mirabai is about standing up for what you know is right for you, even if others will judge you for it. The fear of being persecuted can convince us not to be true to who we really are. There's a love, though, that's far larger than human constructs and cultural values. Love isn't ethical. Love isn't bound by any idea of what socially is acceptable. Love is what sets us free from the expectations that binds us. Love is whatever way it finds us, asks us to stay loyal to our own soul. Any outside force or person who asks us to betray our most intimate relationship with the divine isn't acting out of love. And we can talk about the church with this too. What has the church done, not out of love, to castigate women in general, to remove Mary Magdalene out of the sacred text, to remove her gospel completely, destroy her gospel, hide it in the Vatican Library even. call her a prostitute. I mean, that is, if anything, that is heresy. That is disgraceful. That is disgusting. That is where the divine anger comes in. To reduce the wife of Jesus to a prostitute, let that sink in. It means that all women are just physical objects. It means that therefore all women get to hide, remove their light from the world, to not be in their fullest potential of possibility. But you know where this comes from? This comes from an old, antiquated, and I will say patriarchal logic, because it doesn't come from the heart. Logic and ego based on fear, because it's a fear of women's potential. It's a fear of women's light. It's a fear that women also have the divine love and divine humanity within them, and that they are free. That we are free. That women do not get to be chained, hidden, betrothed, married into, hurt, raped, violated, abused. And I'm saying all these words, I don't give a fuck about YouTube. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I don't care what YouTube says. Let's just call it a spade a spade. This is what's happening right now, and this is what's been happening for many, many years and eons. Children, women, have been a subject of violence for too long. Pope Joan is embodying the divine feminine, which is the high priestess as well, I will say. I'd like to get one card on what I've been channeling, please. The Hermit. She's been hidden for too long. You've been finding the light within. Now it's now you're ready to come out of the cave. You see this? The Hermit. She's ready to come out of the cave. Remember, I mentioned the cave. Now, I don't normally read the booklets, but I want to read the card here of the Hermit. Virgo energy here for some of you could be significant. I feel like the summer months, in particular August, and now we are in happy birthday, Leos, Leo season. It may not seem like it because it's raining in London, in England. I was going to say Italy, but maybe it's the tears. Maybe it's the divine tears, you know, water energy. So anyway, the Hermit, inner reflection, meditation, contemplation, soul searching, inner wisdom, spiritual mentor, finding your guide within, taking time away from chaos of a busy life, hermiting. For those of you who've been hiding the light, now you get to shine and not hermit. In your shadow, you've been withdrawing from society, and it doesn't matter what gender you are, okay? In your shadow, you've been isolating, you've been lonely, you've been forever seeking without healing. You've been feeling like a misfit. It's time to make space for your sacred aloneness and self-care. If you are feeling disconnected from your spiritual north, this time of solitary withdrawal will help you to connect with your compass. I will say that some of you may have Virgo in your north node in your astrology, and or Leo as well in your astrology, or an air sign, Gemini, Aquarius or Libra in your astrology here with the swords energy. You know, with these two swords energies, there's a lot of mental anguish and anxiety here. And this is something that's been programmed in our mind, particularly for those of you who are women, or for those of you who are in your divine feminine energy and essence. Okay. Even, you know, I'm just going to say it. Even women today are being called something else now. We're being labelled as cis women. If you identify with that word, fine. If it rings true to you in your soul, in your heart, in your light, then fine. Accept that, but accept it wholeheartedly. Whatever you do, do not ever say something that you are when you're not. that's a message that's coming in really strongly too. If you say that you are a cis woman, then believe that and really feel that that's true to you. Then declare it as that. But if you don't, then don't. Don't be afraid of what society says. That, I don't know if you're realizing, but there's a subtle shift that is taking place, and there is a subtle indoctrination that's taking place in our society right now. And this is the energy of another marginalization of women. Do we need to have another march for women's rights again? Are we going back in time? Do we have to go back to the 60s again? What is going on here? And what's going on here is a subtle removal of the divine feminine essence. Very powerful messages. Very powerful messages. Oh gosh, okay. Thank you. She's like, you're doing great. Like, thanks. You know, these messages are hard sometimes to, like, even for me to tap into. You know, we've been bound, we've been held back. There's been a witch hunt. There's been a witch hunt for healers. There's been a witch hunt for witches. There's been a witch hunt for women against women. There's been a witch hunt for women who have and see their possibility. I'm going to move just to the side for 1 second. Let's have a look at the mother piece. So we have an 8 of Swords now. You know, interesting. So now, once we recognize that we do not get to we do not think like a man. Okay, so what she's saying is that you cannot just think how the old patriarchy had thought. Okay, we get to see our possibility here. We get to communicate and be communicators of truth here with the 8 of Wands. We get to be messengers of love. And pregnant too, why not? Well, we do it. You know, we have a pregnant Joan here. We have number 8 here, which was also in the infinity card of number 8 here on her arm. All right, let's get another one. The Shaman of Discs. Slowly but surely, this is being grounded. So slowly but surely, you're all coming out of the desert of hiding, you know, all coming out of the cave of hiding. A lot of you may have been to a shaman. Maybe you've been on a journey, a spiritual journey, where you've seen things, where you've where the plant medicine has spoken to you and told you about your life mission. A lot of you, your career is going to be changing, and I don't feel like a lot of you are expecting that. You are. Some of you have come here on the journey with me on abstract medicine for many years, and I'm helping you to initiate that change. And I'm here to, I'm honoured to be part of your journey here as well, I will say. We have another 8. So we have 8 of Cups. Beautiful. And we have the World. Yeah. A lot of you are moving away from pensamento, so pensamenti. So a lot of you are moving away from old beliefs, old thoughts, old ways of being. a difficult time, the Eight of Cups usually would indicate moving on, you know. Some of you are also moving on and moving away from relationships, no matter what they look like. Doesn't matter. Romantically, you know, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what kind of relationship that may be. Let's get 2 cards. I see that some of you are moving. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be healing. You're going to be teaching. You may not see that, but I see that on your journey. A lot of you are moving and changing jobs and careers completely. So get ready for that. I'm here to serve and to guide you on those journeys too. So if you want a private reading on that, you can do that. Look, we have the strength. You have the strength within. You know, this is something that I've spoken to my therapist, is that I get annoyed a lot of the time when people say I'm really strong, and yeah, I am, but I've also had to be strong because I've had to, because of the circumstances I've been met with in my life. And there's also strength and vulnerability. Let me just leave it at that as well. You know, we have the strength card here. The divine feminine is strong. The divine feminine is strong now, is stronger than before. Maybe the divine feminine is stronger now in this. I just heard ecclesiastical and Ecclesiastes. In this incarnation, let me just have a look and see what ecclesiastic means. I know it's from the Bible. I know there's Ecclesiastes. But let me have a look and see what Ecclesiastes. She might be telling me to look up something from Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is one of the Ketuvim of the Hebrew Bible and part of the wisdom literature of the Christian Old Testament. The title commonly used in English is a Latin transliteration of the Greek translation of the Hebrew. Okay. Why am I being directed to? She's saying Ecclesiastes number 8. Okay. I'm just going to go and I'm just going to do what she tells me to do. Mary Magdalene, that is. Ecclesiastes 8 is the 8th chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes in the Hebrew Bible. The book contains philosophical speeches by a character called Qoheleth, composed probably between the 5th and 2nd century. All right. What am I reading? Ecclesiastes 8:8, she's saying. Okay, got it. Because we have 8 and 8 here. Okay, it says here, as no one has power over the wind to contain it, no one has power over the time of their death. As no one is discharged in time of war, so wickedness will not release those who practice it. How interesting. So we have Mirabai, who's, you know, men in her life had died during the war. And we have this energy of your power and strength here. You don't have power over your death. Only Spirit does. Only the Almighty has power over your death. Oh, I see what she's saying. I'm reading in between the lines. She's saying that there may be a war that maybe is maybe being developed right now. Okay. Another world war that's maybe being developed. But she's saying that you know better, Mary Magdalene. She's saying you know better, that this is being orchestrated. And yes, we get to be symbols of love and light to the world, and strength and courage and compassion to the world. But she's saying that their wickedness, this agenda, is going to be coming up to the light. So just go and see The Sound of Freedom. The film, I haven't seen it yet, but I've known about what's been going on for about 4 years, and that really woke me up to a lot of what's going on behind the scenes in governments. And this film is waking up a lot of people, which is great, and it's actually now smashing it's now a massive blockbuster hit, which I'm really, really happy and proud of in a way, because Jim Caviezel is a light worker and he's had to see a lot of things that we gladly don't have to. But the powers that be have been trying to suppress it. And it's usually those people that have actually been doing harm and wickedness. So as mothers, as sisters, as women, as wife, as daughters, and as people in general who have a connection and love for my door, someone just knocked on my door, for children, for humanity, for this earth, for animals, we get to be in sacred support and protection of it. Okay, so that's why there's a lot of wickedness that is coming through, and it's now a war of light and dark, and that's just really what's happening right now. Okay, so as no one is discharged in time of war, okay, so wickedness will not release those who practice it. So those who practice wickedness and evil, essentially, will not be released. You know, I feel like there's going to be some sort of imprisonment at some point, particularly here with the Hermit card. The strength of the light is coming in very strongly here to protect and to shine a light on the evils of this world, really what's going on. And the Eight of Swords to me is an imprisonment card too. So yeah, these people are going to be upset. This is a side note for some of you. These people are going to be upset, and they're going to be crying, and they're going to be apologizing for their wicked acts, not because they have remorse, because they got caught. Okay, so take a note of that. And then we have the Son of Cups, which would be the Page of Cups. Beautiful card, and we also have an egg here. Okay, so we have a new beginning of a new age here. With the Cups energy, for me, there's an emotional awakening coming in for a lot of you. All right, now let's move these cards out of the way. There's a definite completion and a new age coming in. That's very strong. A new age, a new beginning. Yeah, that's coming in very strongly. Let's now have a look at the past life cards and see what's going on with our past lives or from our past. Yeah, I mean, look at this card. The first card that came out is love life. You know, you see, remember, now Mary Magdalene is represented by the rose. And we have this here, and it's just so lovely. It means her energy really is in this reading. Sometimes I forget. I channel, you know, sometimes I forget. Beautiful energy. So we have love life, you know. So we have that, you know, Mary Magdalene. I'm going to remove these cards out of the way. Thank you, Divine Feminines. Mirabai, Amaterasu, and Pope Joan. How they acknowledge me, they acknowledge, they bow their head a little bit, you know, in gratitude and respect. And I think we've lost that custom of like bowing our heads. So maybe we get to do that in recognition of other light workers and people that shine in their light, you know. So we have love life here, and we have two roses. And we spoke about Mary Magdalene being Jesus's wife. I also heard I am a light unto the world, which is what Jesus had said, right? Light and life. Look, we have angels. That's so beautiful. A lot of you who resonate with this reading are earth angels, by the way. scribe or writer. So you're here to document, to research, to study. This has got also confirmation for me too, because I'm actually applying for a PhD at this time. I haven't actually done the documents yet, but I'm collating a lot of paperwork. So this is confirmation too. But it's the energy of like, you're here to research, to write these things that are going on in this life. A lot of you are writers. A lot of you are researchers. A lot of you are here to bring in the light because you have so much love and compassion for the world. I knew that card was going to come out because the ships has been coming in too. You're moving on. We have communal living. So a lot of you are going to be moving as well into basically a bit of a commune, but in a way that's where everyone has the same sort of like vibe and mentality. You know, you get to be with people who resonate with you. These are soulmate energies, you know. You're moving on as well. A lot of you are moving away from people who just don't resonate. We have the mother here, which is really interesting, isn't it? With Mary Magdalene, who was a mother as well, which we will channel in another reading. But we have a lot of you are mothers and were mothers in a past life. A lot of you are dealing with mother wounds at this time too. Okay, look, no surprise. High Priestess, I did mention that with you know, Pope Joan, High Priest. We have that here, and we have, you know, remember the persecution I spoke about earlier too, of witches and healers. We have finances. A lot of you in a past life were living in great abundance and financial abundance. A lot of you are going to be bringing in more abundance to the world as well with your energy, because, you know, finances is currency, and currency is energy. Currency is also water. You're bringing in great abundance in this life. A lot of you are changing your business, as I'm saying, as I said before. And I also see that some of you may have had a bit of an issue with finances, but that's going to be changing soon as well. As you work on your forgiveness, you know, forgive those who have persecuted you. I mean, that's the greatest forgiveness, really. For those of you, for those who have persecuted you, and for those who have hurt you in general, you know, beautiful. Let's have a look at the romance angels. Oh, she's saying first of all to have a look in this book here, the Gospel According to Women. Okay. I'll just read this passage here. It is not merely feminists or middle-class professional women who no longer feel the need to be dependent and wholly subject to their men, finances. There is a good deal of evidence that the concept is spreading. One strong indication is the flood of popular novels that are neither feminist nor highbrow, which have been imposing on a large audience the ideals of female power and independence. The modern heroine is no longer the abject and passive Cinderella of the romance. Novels by Judith Krantz, Shirley Conran, and Barbara Taylor Bradford, for example, show the heroine breaking into the male world with extraordinary success. These novels have been extremely popular and have reached an even wider audience by being serialized on television, both here and in the US. So you could be someone who's writing film, writing things about the persecution of women, or even witches or healers. You could even be writing about, you know, female empowerment, or writing a play or something of that sort. Very often the woman who is represented as the heroine starts from a position of female inferiority and dependence. She's perhaps pregnant. Interesting, we have pregnancy again, with an illegitimate baby, or deserted in some way by her husband and in financial straits, which we had with Pope Joan a little bit. Lace, a woman of substance, Mistral's daughter. Sometimes she is poor and ugly, Scruples, but later she sheds her layers of fat and emerges as a dazzling beauty. Sometimes she has emotional as well as financial problems, Princess Daisy. Sometimes these women marry rich men, but they are not content with a purely passive role. They will either use his assets, or they will capitalize upon their own talents to carve out a fabulously successful career for themselves. They become tycoons with a chain of luxury apartments, stores that belong exclusively to them. They become film stars, models, role models, or publicity agencies, become businesswomen, writers, or corporation lawyers. These new heroines have apparently shed dependency, and despite their glamorous femininity, they break into the male world and beat men at their own game. They move from female slavery and inferiority to a position of power that was hitherto only for men. Lovely. Okay. You deserve love. So again, another card with love and a bow and arrow here. So you are lovable. I also just heard you are the loveliest. So a lot of you are going to be falling in love. Ooh. And getting married, engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. For those of you who are in a connection already, or for those of you who are single, or whatever your situation may be, it's elevating. Your love life is elevating. The person that you are with will be elevated and who is also on the light worker's journey. There's also romantic feelings for those of you who have met someone or who are in a connection with someone. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. And you've been calling in your soulmate, or you are in a soulmate connection already. Your prayers and affirmations and visualizations help bring you together. She's also saying that she's a matchmaker for true divine love, but also for power couples as well. Beautiful. I love this. She's saying that I'll be working with her in the readings as well. Stay optimistic about your love life. She's saying positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. She's also saying to flirt and be a bit more lighthearted. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at a passage from Mary Magdalene here from the Marcia McMahon book. I've actually not read this book yet. It's on my nightstand, so I'll be reading it. But let's have a look. Okay, so she says here, the people are so thankful to see that the Master Jeshua has come. They are also in need of healing. There is an elderly woman there who needs help. She's been afflicted with the disease for a long time, but the others in the family have chosen to stay with her. We perform our healing on this elderly woman who was very frail. She has rags for clothing, and the people in the house are also very poor. They offer us lunch, and we agree to stay for lunch. The woman puts a fire together and makes us some unleavened bread. She also offers hummus and olives and whatever they have. This is something that you could be doing today, by the way, during your sacred feast, is eating olives and hummus and pita bread and very kind of Middle Eastern foods. Today, by the way. They don't have much, but they give everything that they have in the home in gratitude for the healing of the older woman. The older woman is able to sit up now, but she's very weak and will take some time for her healing. In cases of leprosy, often, all that could be done is use energy healing. So putting your hand on someone physically, or even incantations. Remember that Mary Magdalene was ridden of unclean spirits in her physical body and energetic body by Jeshua, and that's how they became close, by the way. Often people could not be completely restored. We are weeping silently for them. They have given all they have to use for their lunch. I'm so touched. He, Jeshua, and I are so happy together. We share that we brought in our little picnic baskets, and all are filled. Marcia, Mary, can you tell me what we learnt from Jeshua of his healing methods? How here we trained in healing? Mary of Bethany says, you and I were trained in herbs and crystals. This we learnt at home from our mother, Mary of Magdala. Well, I also studied at the temple of Isis in Egypt. There was more healing included. Also included in my studies was the study of the resurrection of the body, the dying of cells, and the renewing of life force to the cells. Jeshua was also trained in the resurrection temples in Egypt and also trained in India. I'm going to leave it there because there's a lot of messages here. There's also messages here of the Divine Feminine and the mysteries of the Divine Feminine too, as well as the Great Mother Isis energy too is coming in too. I don't really want to overload you with too much information, everyone, but this is what we have today. If you'd like to tip me on this, in this reading, you can do that in the on the website on the healing page. Please do press the like button as well. It's been an interesting journey for me. In this reading, there's a lot of downloads. I'm feeling quite tired actually, energetically, because there's just a lot that's come through. But I know that this is going to be one of many readings from Mary Magdalene moving forward. If you'd like a private reading with me, you know where to find me. All the information is in the description below. Follow me on Abstract Medicine as well. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to close out here because I'm feeling quite tired and just quite tired from this reading. But I hope you've enjoyed the reading. Maybe put a comment down below. Or if you don't feel like it, just press the like button as well. Thank you so much. God bless. Take care and bye for now.